Well, Coach, could you just tell us a little bit about where you're at this point in the practice season here, spring?
Yeah, I think we're at the point now where we know who can do what. We're at the point now where the water has kind of settled a little bit. We know who can do what. We know what everybody on the team can do. We're at the point now to where we got to make sure we build off of what they can do, right? So you got step one is figuring out who can do what. Step two is filling out, what can they do. Now that we know what they can do, we got to go back and make sure that we're putting things in this spring that we want to get some extra reps at that we may carry over in the season. Our numbers are down just because we lost so many seniors. So it makes it difficult to kind of do some of the multiple things we want to do. But some of the base stuff that we want to do out of a different formation or out of a different package on defense, we've been able to do, which has been good.
Coach, one group you've talked about to us quite a bit has been the defensive line. Talk about maybe some of the newer guys and then some of the guys that are coming back from injury and just where they're all at.
Yeah, I think the new guys have come in and have been able to kind of fit into our culture. With new guys coming in, transfer portal, or high school guys, whatever it is, you always want to make sure you're putting the right guys in your culture. I think they fit into our culture well, and I think they've also brought some variance to our D line. Right, we got some guys. Like Isaiah Gibson, he's a little bit bigger, stronger guy. So he's more of an inside guy. He can play a couple of different spots inside. He's extremely athletic, got really good body and balance control, athletic and agility. So he can do some things, at the three and the nose and the shade and move around a little bit, which creates some variance inside. Watts is another guy who's come in, who's extremely explosive and really quick twitched. He can kind of play inside, outside. Obviously, we've talked about our cornerstone guys with Kobe and Porter, and they're to the point now where different packages, we can move them around just because they understand the defense a little bit more. Taquez Legs is another guy who is probably down, I'm going to say close to 15 or 20 pounds from where he was last year. So he's moving a lot faster, a lot stronger. You got to remember, he was really like true freshman last year. He played 1 year at the other place and he came here, so with the COVID year, he was really young. And then us getting Emmanuel Bush back, we lost him early in the season last year. Getting him back, he's got some unbelievable, quickness and burst and first step, extremely powerful. He's got good leverage because of, his size. He's got really long arms and get off blocks. Emmanuel Balagon has done a really good job. He's a guy that's, been a developmental guy for us who's starting to show those flashes, and then we can see what he can do. It makes it difficult because even when the 2 D-line comes in, it's really like 1A, and then our 2 O-line comes in and we're talking about younger guys. So it looks a little, hairy, from a coaching perspective, but when you really go back and break it down, I mean, if Meeks, at the second team center is going against Watts, who played in the, Big Ten, and he's holding his own and winning some, losing some, and that's pretty good for his development as well, moving forward.
Are you seeing the quarterbacks still pretty close to where they're at right now, or is Cam maybe accelerating ahead of them, or is it pretty even still?
Well, I think Cam is just ahead from a little bit from a comfortability standpoint, right? He's able to do some of the things that you want a quarterback to do. It's funny, man, because the young guys, so Chase Harrison, it's kind of like golf. I mean, they're like amateur golfers, man. I mean, Chase Harrison had a couple of days where he made some huge strides. And then, another period or 10 plays later, he goes back, so it's like he birdies, double bogey, and then Peter comes in and he par, birdie, double, triple. So it's kind of a back and forth, which is good because you can kind of see their confidence building when they do something well. And before long, either, another look from the defense or, something happens and all of a sudden now they're kind of back to freshman mode. So I've been pleased with their progress. Obviously, from a head coach perspective, you love them both to look like Joe Montana right now, right? And doing everything right. But they've shown us enough that we can build upon. And I think Cam has made some solid strides in his consistency. We've minimized kind of what we do with him just because obviously he's left-handed. So there's some things that we can do with him rolling out that direction. There's certain plays that he feels comfortable reading. So we've been able to formation some of those plays differently so that he can still have some confidence. So moving forward, I think, obviously Cam is probably, a step ahead. There is a back nine battle going on right now between Harrison, Zamore, and Cade. Cade was the leader at the turn by a long shot. And he hit 1, 2, 3 in the woods, and now they're battling. But it's good to see, right? It's good to see those young guys that are showing some progress. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on them as far as, hey, look, you got to do this, you got to complete this. When they make a mistake, the first thing I ask them is, what did you see? Because at least if they're looking at the right things or they think they see something, that they're at least trying to process it in their mind. So I'm pleased. We still got a long way to go. Don't write home that, we've got 2, Joe Montana freshmen by any means. But them being here now is a huge step for their growth and maturity.
Yeah, those mistakes you're talking about, those are just really learning opportunities for those guys.
Yeah, it's in high school, if they line up in 2 high safeties, it's probably, some type of middle field open or cover 2 or 4. Well, here, we line up in 2 high safeties dang near every time, and we roll and we spin and we move. And sometimes the speed of it happening, for those guys is, like you said, it's a learning experience, man. This game's a lot faster than a high school game. Some of it is they're throwing it to the right guys, but they got to get it out quicker, because guys are running faster, DBs close faster. So there hasn't been too many catastrophic, mistakes to where we're like, I don't know if this guy gets it, but it's just the little things, right? You're going to throw a slant. You can't hold it and wait till you see the guy open to throw it. You got to kind of throw with anticipation. When you got motions and you got movements on the offensive formations and shifts, you got to shift them before the play clock runs out. So just all of those things that as the quarterback, you got to manage, that when they're comfortable, they can manage it. When things get a little, and then throw it on top of it. They're going against the Watts, the Gibsons, the Kobe's, the Porters, so Kobe's running by barking at them, and they're like, oh my God, who is that? So all of those things combined, play into it.
Yeah,
Coach,
you mentioned Kobe barking at him. How much is the defense really helping out as far as, obviously they want to shine, but at the same time they want their quarterback to be good.
No, I think for them it's an understanding of, if we can make it really, really tough in practice and they can still have some success, then when they get to the game, they're going to be light years ahead, because now you're talking about a game plan where they only have a menu of 15 plays, not the entire playbook. You're talking about a game plan where you're going to be able to say, hey, the defense does this on 3rd down. So some of the stuff that we're doing is a little bit fire hose. When you go into a game week, you prepare for 1st down, 2nd down, 3rd down. Here are 2 things that they can do on 1st down. Here are 3 things they can do on 3rd down. So it's a little easier, the process. But right now we're trying to see, hey, can you go through play, standard operating procedures, snap the ball, read the coverage, get the ball to the right guy, hand it off or pull it, all of those things without, a week's worth of, hey, when the DN puts his right foot forward, he's going to bend, just little things like that.
Coach, in the running back room, obviously Rasheen is, the guy ultimately, but, Kalen and, Ethan and Papillon and those guys, and even the freshmen, how are those guys looking behind Rasheen?
I think that the 2 freshmen are learning. Right now, they are trying to figure out how to get in condition to do what they need to do. So, for example, in the scrimmage, when it was a little less high tempo, play after play after play after play, you saw them flash a little bit. When they get into practice and they get an hour and a half, 2 hours into it, and we still got another 80 plays left, you can see that they're a little bit less conditioned to do it. But from a skill set perspective, we were really pleased with some of the things they did in the scrimmage. AJ Turner actually flashed a little bit on a couple of long runs, which was a positive sign. Isaiah Gordon is obviously a bigger physical guy, and with us going live in the scrimmage, you got a chance to see him kind of add to some of the runs by running behind his pads and getting some extra yards that you don't get to see in a tag off or a thud period during the week. So that's been a positive. And then LeBourne, you can see that he's played the game before. Like I've said before, his biggest thing right now is just learning the plays. You know what I mean? You know, where to line up, where do I motion, what's the signal from the sideline. But when he gets it, hey, it's inside zone to the right. You can see him press. You can see him have patience. He's got a really good change of direction. You know what I mean? So he can get in and out of cuts really good. So it's been positive. We've been impressed with those guys. You know, obviously we're monitoring, you know, Rasheen, you know, to give those guys some more time. It was interesting the first time that, you know, Rasheen jumped in our team one drill. I mean, he got the ball and bang, 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 and went about 40 yards for a touchdown. And everybody was like, oh, okay, it's a little different when he's back there. But it's good for him, you know, and we've been making him, you know, all the other stuff, right? Watching the safeties, watching the linebackers, watching how, you know, when you have good tempo. So I tell him all the time, you can learn a lot from watching if you know what you're looking for.
Yeah, in the video you guys released today, like, you know, LeBourne's just how shifty he was.
Yeah.
Right there. That's like one of the things that stood out to me. I mean, like, you know, like you said, you could see just the quick twitch, you know, how bouncy he was there in the backfield and in the hole.
Yeah, he's gonna be, you know, he can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's got good hands. You know, he's gonna be a positive for us. You know, I think he and Rasheen, you know, obviously will kind of be the older guys in that room. Ethan Payne's another guy who's more, you know, his positives are going to be what we call ugly, which is, you know, you're not going to see Ethan Payne's strengths until you get to a scrimmage, you know, where he can actually, where you have to tackle him, you know what I mean? Because that's his, you know, one of his strengths is, you know, running through tackles, being physical. He's not the guy that's going to dance and make you miss. You know, he's the guy that's going to run through half a man and get 4 yards and fall forward for another yard. So he's going to end up with 5 yards. So, but he does some really good things, you know, in the scrimmage setting. So we're pleased with the group. You know, obviously we got to stay healthy because that's what hit us last year a little bit. But I'm pleased with where we are moving forward.
Coach, the athletic department released 3 sketches of the new field turf today. Which one was your choice? 1, 2, or 3?
Whatever one can be done in time enough for us to start a summer program on June 1. So if it's a pink field, green field, white field, whatever one can be done soon enough for us to start our program this summer. Obviously, you know, we're inside for a reason, but, you know, there are some things that, you know, I mean, we play the game outside, so us to be able to get outside this summer would be huge. But yeah, I did see that. I voted anonymously because I don't want to taint the polls. You know, it's kind of like, do you ask the president who he voted for? You know, it's kind of, can't really do that, right? But he does get the right to vote, correct? I mean he's part of it. But I think it's a great opportunity to see not only where Christian's vision is and what our, you know, whole, you know, everybody was talking about transformational leadership between him and Brad. And I think this is a really good example of just some of the things that they are, you know, pushing forward. And obviously, you know, Jeff O'Malley had a lot to do with this kind of stuff, you know, kind of getting started before these guys get here. But I think it's just kind of where our momentum is going right now. And we got to continue to take steps. And I know I say it and you guys laugh at it, but we got to continue to take steps to close the gap because, you know, it is a gap, right? App's got new turf, you know, they got really good turf, you know, and that was one of the places we looked at when we were kind of going through ideas of, you know, just, you know, looking at other places. So we've got to do some things. I think we're going in the right direction. I think our leadership is doing a really good job of managing, you know, how do we balance, you know, what needs to be done, what has to be done, and what's going to be done. So I'm pleased with it, but yeah, whatever one gets us ready to go June 1, I'm cool with. What about you, Paul? What did you pick? Are you?
I like Green. I'm going to go with Kelly Green. Just
well,
but
they were all had Kelly Green in them, Paul.
No, the end zone. We're talking the end zone.
Oh, okay, the end zone. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, the end zone's Kelly Green. But so far, there was a great tweet I saw earlier. If you're above 30, you hate the color black, and if you're under 30, you love it. So
that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
So I guess I'm showing my age. I like the Kelly Green end zone.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we can't pick on Tom tonight because he's going to an Orioles game. And
we can.
I'm an Orioles fan, so I'll be easy on him tonight. If he wasn't going to an Orioles game, I would be hammering him right now for not being on here. But we'll call a truce for 7 more minutes, and then the next time we get on here, it's back on.
All good?
All good.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.